Ok, Mrs. Mo, we're online. So, bienvenidos a todos a este nuevo espacio creado por la Cámara de Comercio Latino-Africana, un espacio donde estaremos conversando con especialistas africanos sobre las oportunidades que nos ofrece el continente. Estos espacios van a ser tornados entre el español e inglés. Now, I will switch to English. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the LATAM-Africa Business Hub, a groundbreaking webinar series created by CLAF to build bridges between Latin America and the African continent. Today marks the beginning of an exciting journey as we launch this monthly platform dedicated to fostering a true intercontinental dialogue. While our focus is on exploring the vast commercial opportunities emerging across Africa for the Latin American business, we also aim to support the development of new business opportunities within Africa intercontinental trade and other international markets. This space has been especially designed to open doors and deepen understanding through a meaningful exchange that benefits entrepreneurs and companies for both continents. Every last Thursday of the month, we will bring together experts, business leaders, and market specialists who will share invaluable insights, practical knowledge, and first-hand experience about doing business in different African regions, from emerging markets and regulatory frameworks to cultural nuances and strategic partnerships. Our conversations will cover the essential aspects you need to know to successfully navigate these promising territories. Africa is no longer just the continent of the future, it's the continent of today, with its rapidly growing economies, young population, technological leapfrogging, and abundant resources. Africa presents unprecedented opportunities for Latin American business looking to expand their horizons and forge new commercial relationships. Whether you are an established company seeking international expansion and entrepreneur exploring new markets, or simply curious about the potential synergies in Latin America and Africa, this platform is designed for you. In today's inaugural session, we honor to have with us Omo, who will guide us through the business landscape of Nigeria and West Africa, one of the most dynamic, um, one of the most dynamic and promising regions on the continent. Before we begin, I want to emphasize that this is an interactive space. We encourage you to ask questions, share your thoughts, and actively participate in the conversation. Your engagement will enrich us this dialogue and help us to tailor future episodes to your specific interests and needs. Thanks for joining us on this maiden voyage of the Latin African Business Hub. Let's embark together on this journey of discovered connection and mutual growth between our two vibrant continents. Now, let me introduce our distinguished guest today for today's sessions. Omo. Omo is a partner of the head of Africa Trade Practice Group at Deal HQ Partners, a Pan-African transactional advisory firm operating out of Nigeria that serves business across Africa. She is a seasoned legal professional with close of 2 decades of experience in a corporate and commercial transactions, specializing 2 decades of experience in a corporate and commercial transaction, specializing in international trade and infra-Africa trade. With her deep understanding of the African business landscape, Omo is passionate advocate for unlocking the vast potential of the African market and empowering business to thrive in the African continental free trade area. Her experience extends to providing transactional advisory services to diverse range of clients. Omo is also founder of the host of the Trading Without Border podcast, a platform dedicated to disseminating insights for fostering discussions of leveraging the opportunities presented by the AfCFTA. She holds a postgraduate degree in international trade and commercial law from the Durham University in the United Kingdom. With her comprehensive expertise and passion for the African market, Omo is ideally passionate to guide us through this business landscape and opportunities in Nigeria and West Africa. Good afternoon, Omo from Nigeria. Good morning here from Bogota, Colombia.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm saying good afternoon to you all from Lagos, Nigeria, and it's good to be with you here. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you all.
No, thanks for your time and together this afternoon to you to came across talk about new business opportunities. So, let's start. Like, I have already prepared some questions for you in order that is going to help us in order to navigate like around these business opportunities. So, the first one that I have here is which countries make up West Africa and what are the main economic characteristics of them?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. Before I go into that, I think I would just like to first of all just point out the big question Africa is not a single country, it's made up of 54 countries and divided into different regions. So in West Africa, we have the about 16, 15 of 15 or 16 of them that are divided into either Anglophone, the English speaking West African countries, comprising of countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia. And we have the Francophone West African countries. That's the French speaking West African countries like the Cote d'Ivoire, the Guinea Bissau, Niger, Burkina Faso, and amongst others, and Senegal amongst the rest of them. So that's the way um, West African countries are. And in respect of economy, West African countries are under the regional economic community of West African states. That's ECOWAS. That's a regional economic community. So African countries are divided into an organization, regional economic communities where they trade. They have have economic cooperation amongst themselves. So the West African countries are under ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community of West African states, where they influence trade and regulatory frameworks among them. So that's like a trade bloc, which West African countries are in, and they influence trade decisions in the region, in West African region, and of course some sort of regulatory decisions. They have some preferential trade arrangements under the ECOWAS, which is a tool for do I say it? Do they determining the origin of good if it exists within the West African country and it then not subject to custom duties or reduced duties. So that's the way West African countries operate. However, African countries are, in as much as yes, they are under the same regional economic communities. African countries each have their own system. They have their own economic system, their own regulatory system, they have their own political system, they have their own nuances, the countries, the sectors, the cost of consumer preferences. So you never have to link them together. You need to understand that each country operates on its own economic situations, its own political considerations, its own, and amongst others. So that's what you need to understand about Africa. Yeah, so I'll just stop there then in the process of just share more. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice. That's we're talking like about more than you said, like more about five countries, and each one I think that they have their own different from cultural
Yeah,
and from the.
cultural differences, economic differences, political differences, which is very key. Its own government, its own legal system, and the way it runs, and also dispute resolution system.
Okay, friend. Okay. Let's go move forward. Uh, what business sectors, for example, in Nigeria and West Africa, offer the best opportunities right now, from your point of view?
Okay, I think the best way to look at right now in Africa is Africa has got in as much as it's got its opportunities there. infrastructural challenges, and you've got quite a number of investors coming in respect of foreign direct investment to invest in various infrastructure along different sectors or industries. So some industries have been identified and where people are also doing business. We have the by the African Development Bank, we have the World Economic Forum and friends that identified some potential sectors with high potential opportunities for business. So, of course, I would speak about agriculture and agro processing. That's one key area. Those are areas that's an area for potential business opportunities. Africa has vast arable land, but of course, there's a need for modern farming system, which there is, but there are more opportunities for you to come into that, to come and invest. So we also have right now under the African Continental Free Trade Area, which I would expand more in the course of it, the digital trade. That's where a lot of the African countries are at the moment trying to adopt it, being adopted, and there's so much work ongoing there. So there's opportunities for e-commerce, online trade, and amongst the rest of them. You also have the transportation and logistics. That's a very good. That's another area where you have opportunities because that's you're moving the import and export. You're looking at road and you're looking at the maritime the maritime sector as well. So those are areas that they are then the renewable energy. That's the African Development Bank has highlighted with the African government that those are the areas they are seeking to push investments in Africa. And or there are five priority areas, and Light Up Africa is one of it. To be, there's infrastructure, there are challenges in respect of the power sector, the energy sector in Africa. So there's a need for modern electricity and to make it sufficient or sustainable. So you're looking at renewable energy, you're looking at investment in those areas. Then, of course, the Feed Africa, which I've spoken about, agriculture and agro processing. That's a very that's an area that the African countries are seeking to really focus on. Then you have the pharmaceutical industries, and you have, for instance, under the agriculture, it's been projected by 2030, intra-African agriculture trade will increase by 574%. And McKinsey has also highlighted that green fertilizers, those are areas that you can actually invest in, that you can, because of modern farming, moving from small old farming and all of them. You also have a very young population in Africa, so tech savvy. So you're looking at one place that one sector, the financial technology sector, which is fintech. And Nigeria is one of the leaders within the region, being able to penetrate in respect of mobile financial transactions. So that's another area. And there's also the push to industrialize Africa. So in terms of industrialization, manufacturing sector, those are areas that are being looked into, and the automobile sectors as well. So if you're looking at, of course, tourism, yes, that's one area. You have the likes of the probably you have the tourism, you have the Marriott hotels and the rest of them in here. When I mentioned logistics, you have the likes of DHL and the rest of them who have been operating over the ages anyway, a whole lot of them. And so that just so those are some of the sectors that you need to look at. There are opportunities for investment. So there are infrastructural challenges that African governments are looking to bring in FDI and different investors in different areas. And of course, when you see challenges, means that these are opportunities for business. Then you come in and then look at the areas. Then we can then dive now into how to then come in to do the business. Thank you.
No, thanks, Mrs. Omo. Well, it's like a huge opportunity that we have in order like to develop new business opportunities with the African market. I I just get some important ones like as you said, the infrastructure. It's going to be one of the key issues. For example, indirect foreign investment, I take technology. I know that Nigeria is doing very well in fintech sector and in this kind of services. If we talk about opportunities and business services, one important thing that you said, renewable energy, but I want to get closer to the you said
Uh,
agro and the
sorry, I just
agro.
mentioned the healthcare sector. That's another opportunity. Healthcare sector. That's another area
Oh,
I prospect. Yes.
okay, okay, sector. But I just want to go if you can give like an talk about this opportunity that we can find in the agro processing and in the agro part. Which kind
Okay.
of product is raw materials or is processed
So,
materials?
okay. So for agro processing, one of the objectives, just like AFT, to move Africa from just exporting of raw materials into producing value added goods. So if you're coming to look to invest in that area, you're looking at processed food, not
Okay,
just raw material, because we're moving away from just exporting raw material then importing finished goods here. So Africa is moving to processed food production. So you are looking
process.
at process in respect of whether it's made different and then also in respect of warehousing. If you are looking to move the farm produce or the farm products from the rural communities, the farms, into the urban centers, or in terms, so how do you process? Those are ways that different countries are looking for how to preserve processed food and all of those things. And I know Ghana was one of the countries that invested massively in terms of warehousing in order to improve productivity and yield. So those are the sort of areas that you should be looking at. Processing and preservation of agri-processed food, and of course, you also want to process agri-products. So you're moving from raw materials into producing value-added goods, and also there are opportunities for you to invest along the food value chain, or from the beginning to the looking into the ecosystem. What areas can you operate in? So those are ways that you can start looking for you to come in to invest. Thank you.
For example, we can say the packaging. It will be like an option through the value chain
Yes, yes,
of the
absolutely.
agro processing.
Yes, absolutely. There are some countries that just deal with packaging materials and all of that, and you just provide that to people that are packaging their products. So that's one area, the packaging machines, all of the technology around it. That's also an area of opportunities for investment.
Okay, that's great. Well, I have here another question, and I think that is an important one. Taking that when you talk about West Africa, you are telling me that some countries of West Africa speak French, that are the French community, and others speak English, no? From this point of view, what are the most significant cultural difference that we need to take in mind in order when we're going to start to doing a business or get in touch with a partner in West Africa and Nigeria?
I think that the first most important thing in terms of cultural difference is establishing local partnerships, that's seeking to collaborate with local partners that are on ground, because that's going to help you a lot. You don't just come because the markets are fragmented. Even within Nigeria is a very big country. I am in the western part of Nigeria. So you need local partnerships to actually help you to navigate the terrain in Africa. So that's going to help you a lot. And also, apart from local partnership, people, you need to sort of understand the local customs and tradition. Africans are, yes, warm, friendly, and all, but even the unspoken language, people are in everything you do. That's been the best way to navigate all of this is getting local partnerships that are on ground to help you to navigate in different aspects, understanding cultural nuances in the different regions, cultural nuances, even within the same country. There are nuances right now, even in Nigeria, the consumer nuances, the consumer preferences for what you're doing if you're in the West, if you're in the urban centers, and if you're in the rural centers. If you're in the city, you're in another part, there are different cultural issues that you also need to understand that you may just need to navigate. And the best way to go about that is having local partners on ground to help you navigate through. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's nice. Okay, you were telling me local partners. What is the best way from your point of view to, well, we are from, where say, like I'm located in Bogota, we're located in Santiago de Chile. or maybe in India, yeah, what is going to be the best way to get and to find this right local partner?
Okay, well, like some of the I'll speak to, okay, because of the industry that I operate in, this is some of the best ways you're looking at local partners, of course, depending on where, because the local partners are also helping you to navigate the risk involved. Your local partners are like my firm, what we do, we also help to connect people to local partners. So if you know people that you have the law firms that can help you that we need to get this and we're trying to get, for instance, we need a distributor in one country and they're part of our partnerships, then we meet our own partners in different regions and in different countries to help in arranging that connection. So that's one way because you need to get trusted advisors. And so with the law firms to do that, then you could also invest in associations, yes, networking in respect of different trade organizations that are ongoing. Sometimes trade missions, they go around and they come in with different business, even local partners. So there it's very important to network. That's another way to navigate the cultural nuances. You network in the different events that are going in respect of doing business, investment opportunities, trade missions. And there you can also get local partners because sometimes some of those associations are vetted individuals and they can help you and connect you to partners on ground, depending on what area you're sitting, you're looking to get into. Thank you.
Okay, well, yeah, it's important to work, for example, like an firms as you work in order to develop these kind of new partnerships. From this point, I have a question. There are any restrictions, for example, in foreign direct investment? For example, if I am a overseas company that wants to get to Nigeria, in this case, and want to establish their operation there, are like any restrictions? I need to get some local with more participation or any issues like that, or how is this environment works there in Nigeria?
Sorry, I'm going to get you. Can you just repeat that again?
Yeah, I want to go in that we need to like one of the best options that we have in order to get to the Nigerian market. Are there any restriction in foreign direct investment? Do I need to find a partner with a high participation or something like that?
Okay, so before you go in, I'm getting that's what your question is. You need to conduct a market entry strategy. So that's the best way that you because you need, and that's what some of your local partners will do. And of course, you also need to conduct a due diligence on that partner just to be sure that you are with trusted hands and you're not going to get somebody that's going to go in trouble. But for you to enter any African country, you need to understand the regulations about that country. Regulations changes differently at different times. You need to understand the sector that you want to. What are the regulations concerning the sector that you want to get into or the industry? You need to understand the consumer preferences in those industries. That's how you're able, so that you also need to understand the key players in whatever industry you need to, so that that's your competitive advantage. So that way you are then able to know that, okay, what how do we go about doing business? Sometimes there are licenses depending on the industry that you want to operate in. There are licenses that are required. Sometimes there are local indigenization regulations that states that for foreigners to come in, local companies or local individuals, they need to own a certain percentage when it comes to equity. Maybe they must own a certain percentage in the company that you want to set up, depending on the ways that you want to get into do business. Is it through FBI? Are you looking at franchising? Are you looking at partnering and collaborating with the existing companies? So there are such regulations, and you need to keep up. There are quite enough of them. And so sometimes you can't even do it. You need something. Yes, you need the law firms who are able to help you to navigate the different regulations and the sectors that those are your partners that you need to that tell you, oh, for this sector, they then give you the legal opinion or the legal advice that you need that. For you to operate here, this is at the requirement, these are the entry requirements that is required. These are the licenses that you need. The expatriate in terms of repatriation of capital, this is what the law says. In terms of the industry, this is what you are expected to do. But when you have your partner, then in terms of maybe you want to enter into business, you want to take over a company, you want to acquire an asset, maybe an acquisition, and you are carrying out the due diligence for you to find out about the corporate issues, the commercial issues surrounding this company, are there liabilities, are there disputes that you need to know. So those are part of what your partners, what the firms, what your advisors are going to do for you and to give you. But of course, in getting that, you must also get firms that you know that they are able to carry out due diligence, even in respect of a partnership or a local partner that you want to enter into, just to be sure that you're getting to with the right hands. That's it.
Wow, there are many things that we need to take in mind before like to enter in business, but it's important, and that's the idea of this space, like to create this understanding that how we can get to these new markets. Um, okay, from the point of view of logistics, of customer compliance, what are going to be your recommendations? There are anything that we need to take in mind? Which is the main port of Nigeria?
Oh, okay. Yes, in terms of ports, each country has its own ports. We have the different ports in Nigeria. We have the functional airports, the international airports, and functional. And if you want this, of course, we also have the ports, where there are proper ports when you bring in goods from the sea, and we have that amongst the think and amongst the other ports. So those areas that each country has got its own ports, and there are some of them that are already digitizing their ports operations in order to reduce transit times, clearance times, and all of this. Because the reason why a lot of this is being done because of the African continental free trade area, like it's creating a single market in African countries, and delays at port was also for us for that to be successful. You need to take care of whatever it is that is causing barriers to effective or successful trade. That's going to have to be there. That's why some of the ports are already being digitized, and those are also another opportunity areas for investment. Going to Nigeria, there are some African countries have already digitized their ports. Some are also in the process, and they've reduced them clearance and transit times in some of those ports. So Nigeria's got its own port, Ghana's got its own port, Cote d'Ivoire's got they've got their ports, they all have their airports, their seaports, and all of this.
So it's good because they are improving their way to get there, no? With their own ports, their own digitalization process, in the customs clearance in order like to make trade facilitation issues, no?
And documentation, yes. I know what to resolve documentation issues. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's move forward. From your point of view, yeah, what do you say that is going to be like the um, tariff around like the middle tariff that we can find, the NMF tariff?
The tariffs. Okay, what I can just share about tariffs right now is
Yeah, that is it's a quite interesting topic right now around the world. Tariff.
okay, in respect of tariffs in Africa, what I can share, which I'll still keep referring you back to, is the African Continental Free Trade Area. So under it, so it's 54 countries with a single market,
Yeah,
and
okay.
they are trying to remove or reduce the barriers that are limiting Africans from trading amongst each other. And one of the, should I call it the catch line under the trade in goods, where the government intends to reduce or remove tariffs for goods that are produced and are traded within the free trade areas. So that's the plan, and they're looking at what are some of the goods that have already been identified that under this, this is going to be subject to preferential treatment, as long as we can confirm that it is 100% made or produced within the African countries, or if it's not 100% produced, there are also some tests that it will to determine what's the percentage of foreign products that was used in the production. That's just basically the rules of origin to determine if a good or product is going to be subject to preferential treatment within the African free trade area. So that is what I can say much about tariffs. But yes, each African country, as they've still got their own export duties, custom duties, in respect of import and export. But with the African Continental Free Trade Area coming on board, there plans, and there's already some trade going on under it, the Guided Trade Initiative. Some of the African countries are already trading under it, and some goods have been traded duty free reduce duties within the African countries that are trading. So if you have your product, you set up here and the goods are being, so that's an opportunity. They are being produced within the continent and use input or the different sources within the free trade area, then this, and that can be verified, then it's going to be subject to preferential trade.
Okay, that's interesting. So it means, for example, that if some overseas company wants to get there, they could choose Nigeria as an, a point of preference, establish their operation in Nigeria, and from there, like the idea is to make like a production, and we can start to make business in intra-African trade. It could be like an idea, as I get.
Okay, I'm not too sure I get that, but what I know is that if you're saying if you come in like you want to set up in Nigeria, set up your maybe your company, your factory or your business, and you produce within Nigeria, then that's subject that will be within Nigeria is an AfCFTA country, and you produce within that any of the trade countries, any of the state parties, and of course, and is traded within any of the state body, then that's going to be subject, and that can be proof that it was the origin can be traced to Nigeria or any of the countries that are under the FCFTA, then it will be subject to the preferential trade treatment.
Okay, that will be like an interesting point to go further. Well, we need to review origin issues and all these legal issues that you were taking in mind in this talk. But it's nice that there are many ways that we can go further with trade relations with the African and Nigeria. Okay, let's go specific with Nigeria. Um, how is the business environment in Nigeria? What you can tell us from your point of view?
Okay, okay. I think I'm going to use an example here of KFC.
Okay.
So you need to understand Nigeria. Nigeria are the very young youth population, youth survey and tech survey population. So for Nigeria, you need to understand the urban consumers and the rural consumers. There are nuances that you need to understand in terms of consumer preferences. There are different opportunities and prospects. So let me go back to the KFC example. When KFC came to Nigeria to set up, of course, with their fries and the chicken and the rest of them, eventually they had to add rice to their menu. Why is that? Because that's part of their strategy that the market research. Nigerians love rice. And if you're going to set up a food business, a eatery business, and people go in there and they do not get rice, I'm not sure you'll be getting in a whole lot of customers. Yes, they love the other things, the seafood, the rest of they want to eat it, but they're just listening about rice that they want to find that somebody wants, even if every other person that is ordering doesn't want, somebody must want rice. And if you are people are coming in and they say, oh, we don't have rice, then that might affect your consumer base. So KFC sells packaged cooked rice in Nigeria as they offer it as part of their product offerings, which is not in other other places, but in Nigeria they have rice as part of their package offering. So that's what you mean by you need to understand your market. You need to understand consumer preferences. They came in, yes, with their fries, with chicken, and all they sell around the world, but they understood that in the Nigerian market, Nigerians love rice. They had to include that as in their menu, and that's been sold packaged as well. Correct.
Wow, that's a quite interesting. That's a quite interesting issue, no? So rice is something important in
Yeah.
your culture.
Yes, rice is really important. Nigerians consider rice. If you go to parties, rice has to be there. Come back on Sundays, rice will be there. That's it. That is the food that's Nigerians love.
Okay. And for example, okay, rice is one important. Which other cultural issues from Nigeria that we need to take in mind, like how it will be like on a business meeting, or these kind of issues that we need to take in mind? Um, what can you tell us about that kind of issues?
Okay, just like I said, the people are friendly, they are warm, they want to play with you, and of course, in the process of meeting with them, they are just. I know I mentioned earlier all of your non-verbal communication. People are watching that, and Nigeria is also a very traditional society. There are some roles that are assumed that gender roles. And yes, that may not be in case in maybe some urban centers, but maybe because you want to go into some rural areas to do business, you need to keep and understand their local customs, their traditions, they value and cherish all of that. So going there, you need to be friendly and try to understand. It's just when they say when you're in Rome, you behave like the Romans. So understand this, these are the things to cherish and some of those things. Then when you go to their events, they are welcoming. They want the oh, they love all people, they love foreigners, everybody wants to play with you. They want you to enjoy, like, oh, this is our food, or this is this, and like that acceptance is there. But also you still need, just I would always say, the first timer, you need your local partners to help you to navigate the nuances. Whatever products that you are creating for the rural customers might be different from the urban centers. The urban centers, they're very tech savvy, the youths. And so whatever it is that you're looking, they are more like the digital. Yes, you want to look at digital means for them. And then the rural areas, you're looking at traditional, maybe traditional with in respect of products that you want to do. So then, of course, apart from that, the core north, maybe the northerners, that this that they prefer. For instance, I'm going to use Coca-Cola.
Hmm.
Some of the products that you see in the west or in the urban centers, if you go to some very core interior places, maybe those bottles of that been phased out in the urban center, you could still see some of those products in the core interior rural areas because it will move there, it will sell there, and probably the pricing is very key. What you're going to price someone in the urban center is no different from somebody in the core interior areas.
Okay, okay. I have just a question here from somewhere, and they want to know how works the payment transactions or the transactions. There are, I know that, for example, in Africa, we talk about mobile money,
Yeah.
um, and how it works the transactions, or there are anything that we need to take in mind when we're going to make transactions between overseas and Nigeria or
So
West
Nigeria
Africa?
is very advanced in Africa financial system. We have you're doing transfers in respect of mobile transfers, and that's being done like immediately. I think Nigeria is one of in the world. For example, Nigeria has one of like you're doing instant transfer in respect of money or financing. But of course, there are challenges. Sometimes maybe the transfer doesn't go to tech issues and some slow internet, but the financial institutions are they are well with good technology, good infrastructure for you to put in. We have the big banks. Most of Nigerian banks they are spread around. They have branches across Africa. Then we also have the fintech with mobile money. We have the different ones. We have Flutterwave in Nigeria. We have M-Pesa. I think that's in Kenya. Ghana has
Mm-hmm.
also got its own. And so, that's one area that is very really with high prospect because it's moving. Some of those rural areas may not have access to the banks, so we have the mobile money that you can easily do the transfers on your phone, on your mobile device, and that's good. So that's one area of financial technology that is moving. That's very really with that's got high prospects. So in terms of even repatriation of capital, yes, you can move your once your profits or move it out of within the regulated financial institutions or financial requirement. That's fine. You're allowed to repatriate your capital. Once you do your investment, you want to take it, but you can do that as long as it's done legally and within the right legal framework within the financial institutions. That's very thank you.
Okay, okay, that's nice. So we're like our last minutes on this brief space. So, from your point of view, what is going to be like the last measures, the last recommendation for those people who are interested to go there? Okay, we're telling you need to be and you need to work with your local partner, but what is going to be like the last issues, like your last recommendation for people that is interesting to go to making business in Nigeria, to invest in Nigeria, um, to
I
start to
think
close this
some of
this.
the recommendations that I would give. you need to understand the political nuances in African countries. Political consideration is very key. A government may come in today, and tomorrow another one comes in. Of course, they are democratically elected governments in most of the countries, and apart from a few on the and they're changing rules, changing regulations. You need and whatever because you need to keep up so that because so you know that whatever rules or regulations that are changed does not affect your business. So Africa, each country has its own regulation. You can imagine if you have business interest in Nigeria, you're having one in South Africa and in different places. You need to keep up with those regulations just to be sure that you are operating in line according to the law and there's no new regulation or legislation that is said that something happened, then you're out of the law. But you might not necessarily, that's why you need your local partners, the law firms, your advisors on ground who are able to keep that, to keep you on track in respect of that. Then we also have the dispute resolution system. We have the courts, the litigation. We also have access, most like commercial transactions now, they prefer to use arbitration. Some of them use arbitration. And sometimes the seat of arbitration is in London or in Paris. So for big ticket transactions, so that's also there are also another form mediation and all those forms of dispute settlement. So, but you need to understand that sometimes the dispute process in the courts may take longer times, which takes a while adjournment. So some people the arbitration is fast, although it's expensive, but for commercial transactions, you find that most clients, most of the time, everybody wants that done so that you whatever these issues are resolved quick and fast. So that's what you need to put in it all. You need there are risk involved, and you need your local the advisors on ground, and to help you navigate those risks, advise you how you can manage those risks and how you can avoid that the ones that can be avoided. Like some of what we do with our own family, even within local, apart from even foreigners coming, we also have Africans and maybe Nigerian companies that want to expand into another African country. What we do all of those. We want to acquire, we want to under maybe like acquisition. We are conducting due diligence in respect of we are partnering with another the firm, our own partners in those jurisdictions to sort of to conduct the due diligence. We are doing all of those. They also want to Nigerian businesses, African business, Ghana. They also want to expand. There are different investment by Africans in various African countries, but they also need the advisors to help them to also navigate the fact that you're living in Africa, but government you go Africa. So you just need the advisors, the experts on ground to help you to navigate the terrain. Like, okay, do all of that. And so that's it. So the best bet out there is your local partners. Get your advisors. Don't come in newly. Let them and market entry strategy must be conducted. Market research in respect of the country, in respect of the sector you want to go into, in respect of the consumer preferences. Those are very key before you enter into any African countries because of the fragmented market system. Thank you very much.
Well, Mo, it's been quite interesting interview today, taking in mind all the different cultural nuances that we can find, like in Nigeria, the different kind of sectors that we have find different opportunities to make an investment or to trade. We're going to like just review some of your comments. We came across e-commerce, transportation, and logistics, food. It was only we get indeed in the agro-processing food, in add value opportunities that it come from, the manufacturing of, I think one of the most important, and I will be able more to glad to visit you soon, the tourism to get in touch each other. Well, and the other issues and the history that you came across with the history and the importance of the rice in your culture. So there are many things to be learned. This is like just the beginning.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So, well, no, thanks very much, Mo. It was indeed a pleasure to have you here in this afternoon for you from Lagos, Nigeria. Here morning in Bogota, it's 8:44 a.m. here in Bogota. And I think it's 2:44 in Lagos. We have 6 hour difference, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, it's it's just 2:45 p.m. Just in the difference in Lagos right now.
Okay,
2:44, 45. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks, Mo. It was a pleasure. I know that we're going to get in touch, and I know that with your local firm, you could be going to be like a great partner for this company that wants to extend or invest. So, how they can connect you? Do you have like your email, or how can you
Yes,
connect if they
yeah.
want to do business in Nigeria?
Oh, and yes, we can have my email, the phone number. I can also share our firm's website, or I can share my email, or if you want to do that, and our numbers are also available. I can also share our website. So if you want to come into Nigeria, please send me an email, and our firm will be happy to, once we discuss, to advise you on what are, because our professional fees, and we are happy to help you to navigate whatever in respect of the investment areas. Either you want to set up, you want to enter into partnerships, you want to franchise, and the rest of it. Our firm is happy to do that. We serve clients across the globe. We help them to expand their operations across Africa.
Okay, no, thanks. Thanks everyone that joined us for this first episode here in Latin African Business Hub. This is just only the first step that we're going to take to getting closer both continents, the South-South Cooperation Project. So follow us for more information about the African market and follow us our networking because, for example, next week we're coming across with a special talking about women in international trade. We are going to have like a cross-continental dialogue. We're going to get in close with some women in multilateralism way from Latin America. We're going to have um, other specialists from Africa, so it's going to be an interesting way. And our following webinars. So thanks very much, everyone. Okay, have a good day here in Colombia, good afternoon in Nigeria and Lagos, and thanks very much for this opportunity. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. I've also just shared my email address on
Okay, that's perfect.
the room, so for anyone that wants to chat or discuss further with them. Thank you very
Okay,
much for having me, and good afternoon from those
okay,
that.
good afternoon, good morning here. So thanks very much, anyone.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. See you to the next one.